The 12th edition of the Craneley K2 Cycle Classic starts in Whitianga this year. The beautiful beach town on the Coromandel, the white sandy beaches in near perfect conditions. It's going to be a great day for the riders competing over 192 kilometres. The elite riders get underway. As I've mentioned, perfect conditions, very sunny, warm. It's a day where you're going to have to make sure you drink and eat plenty, keep up the energy levels. The big field in the challenge series of the Classic is the fun riders, for the mass riders. These guys are the ones that'll go between, it'll take most of the day to ride this race.
Good weather, safe racing, and a good time.
Looking forward to the finish line and getting those hills out of the way.
It's a very long race.
Not too much wind and plenty of sunshine. A good fun ride.
Yeah, they're pretty long, pretty tough, but I enjoy the downhills. Getting at the bottom is good.
Over the years, the race has been won by some of New Zealand's leading cyclists. This year, Nick Lovegrove, Dan Molyneux, Ben McHale, Josh Aldridge will be among the favourites to take out the elite division. So the big field underway. Safety has always been paramount on a race like this, and the organisers do a fantastic job keeping the roads patrolled with the local police and marshals, and the riders really enjoy the experience of the Craneley Cycle Classic. Good steady pace on a ride like this. It's important to find your own rhythm on these long climbs. Try and stick with a bunch. For the Craneley Cycle Classic, we have the women's race as well, but a lot of the women choose to ride the full 192 kilometres. The women's elite division is a 100-kilometre race, and Emma Crum, who's looking to build on her great season she's had overseas, she's a former stage winner in the New Zealand Cycle Classic, riding the full distance in the Craneley Cycle Classic. Well, the Craneley K2, famous for the big climbs. Here they've got the beautiful beach, just to enjoy the view if you've got time to look around. You don't get days like this on the Coromandel all the time for the Craneley Cycle Classic, but today is absolutely perfect Coromandel conditions. They'll start climbing one of the big climbs today up the Katuna Hill. There's not really many places to rest, really only one of the last stages when you go through Coromandel, get over the climbs and heading towards Thames is really the only flat section on this 192 kilometre course. Riders in the yellow and green of the GMC coaching colours. You never know, if the rabbits, we might see a lot more next year. So we just move forward and catch up with some of the elite riders who are heading up to the Whangapawa Hill, heading towards Coromandel, one of the tough climbs of the day. Josh Aldridge has made a lone break here. He'll be chasing some of the King of the Mountains points. He's got himself into a good rhythm, climbing this climb. Some nice tight hairpins, picking up a water bottle at one of the many feed stations, and here's the chasing group. We're just slowing down. That's such a hot day. Nick Lovegrove going through shot there, just collecting another water bottle. Some of the riders have just found the pace a little bit too tough. Going up Whangapawa. So as you come over the Whangapawa climb, you look down into the beautiful town of Coromandel as they head towards Thames, 54 kilometres. So this group of riders chasing one lone rider who's got away is Lewis Crosby, Greg Marfield, Ben McHale and Dan Molyneux. And there was the man they were chasing, Josh Aldridge, who's picked up another King of the Mountain climb, and he'll get some more points in that competition. So one of the great things coming out of Coromandel is the descents you get. There's some big climbs, but some big downhills as well. Really tight turns, so the riders have to get their lines right. They'll certainly get away from the motorbike on the hill. Josh Aldridge been picked up, he's back in that group, so that's the leading group now. So the second climb coming out of Coromandel, another big climb. Who's on the front doing the work? It's Jason Thomason. The two riders away, Ben McHale and Jason Thomason, just trying to make a little bit of a break on the second climb out of Coromandel, but still a long way to go in the Craneley K2 Cycle Classic. This bunch, they're just riding a good tempo on the climb. No one wants to break away really solo, so they're going to stick together. They'll need each other on the flat as they head towards Thames. Dan Molyneux on the front, trained by former New Zealand Olympic and Commonwealth Games cyclist Stephen Cox. Then Jason Aldridge following him, who's leading the Killingham Mountains competition. Nick Lovegrove, he's just maintained his own tempo over the top. He'll rejoin them on the descent. So through one of the other vital feed stations, you can see the riders collecting more water bottles. So as the riders continue down towards Thames, the big hills and descents, it'll be difficult for the camera motorbike to keep up with the leaders. You can see the lines the riders have to take around the corner. Of course, the roads are open on this sort of event, so they have to stay on the left-hand side of the road as much as possible. There we go, the front group coming around the little rolling part in towards Thames. So as they go down towards Thames, we've got Dan Molyneux, Ben McHale doing a lot of work chasing these two riders up front. Lewis Crosby and Toby Atkins, they've made a break on the field. Good time to make a break as you come into Thames on the flat. You do use a lot of energy, especially if you've got a little bit of headwind, but they're sharing the workload. But if the bunch behind keeps working well together, it's difficult for two riders on their own. They'll be hoping to get over the Kopa Hikawai without getting caught. That'll be their aim. Here's the chasing group now. So who's doing all the work? We see Nick Lovegrove on the front. We know Dan Molyneux's been there. He's been doing plenty of work. There's Josh Aldridge as well. So they are working well together. Sharing the workload, everyone doing a turn on the front. When you're sitting in behind the wheel, it's about 15% easier. Oh, it's great to see Andy and Keith, the organisers of the Crane Lee K2 Cycle Classic, getting the Thames street sweeper out to just smooth out the roads for the riders, make sure there's no debris on the course. Lewis Crosby, Toby Atkins still out in front, working well together. As they come into Thames, they'll be happy to see that sign. They know the Kopu, the big climb, 14-kilometre climb's coming up, goes to 425 metres in height, so it's not super high, it's a long, steady climb.
Myself and Josh Aldridge, teammates, Mount Eden Cycles. The plan was for him to go on the early break, get all the KOM points, me to hold tight till the coast, then go off on the coast, save his legs. So everyone else was chasing, Josh got to sit on, and now hopefully he's going to be in for a good day.
So Lewis Crosby, he's blown up a little bit on the climb. That could have been a part of the game plan, was to get his mate Toby Atkins to the bottom of the hill ahead of the peloton. So on the long Kopu Hikawai climb, some of the riders starting to feel it. There's Nick Lovegrove just trying to maintain a good tempo, following Dan Molyneux riding very strong. Dan, he's looked good all day. Ben McHale's got a good tempo going there. He's away. Jason Thomason's with him, so these two once again have cleared out on the climb, trying to share the pace. It's a 14-kilometre climb. 450 metres in gradient. A couple of the big trucks going over the climb. The police will pull them over so the riders get a clear run on the descent. Dan Molyneux takes the climb over the top of Kopa Hikawai. Josh Aldridge was there as well, picking up some more KOM points. So there's Molyneux. He's made a break on the flats heading towards Tairoa. He's riding extremely well. As I mentioned before, is trained by Stephen Cox. So Molyneux from Tauranga, broken away. He's going to use a fair bit of energy, but he probably feels the riders behind were suffering on the Kopu, so they'll take a little bit of time to regroup. So his strategy will be to get out there, make the others chase, and one or two riders may jump across to him. That'll be what he's hoping, is maybe if he can't go solo the whole way, that he gets some company. Maybe another two riders could come up to him. So as they shoot through the Pawanui turn off, there's the chasing. Nick Lovegrove leading the chase there. Molyneux taking the opportunity to eat, coming through Tairoa. The police doing a terrific job directing the traffic. go, 4 hours they've been going. Riders starting to feel it a little bit now. You can see the heads looking down. Getting towards the finish. Nick Lovegrove still looking quite comfortable. Josh Aldridge on the back. So they picked up Molyneux. So coming into Tairoa Township. On the dreaded Pumpkin Hill, the last climb of the day, you start to feel this, I tell you. They've been over some big climbs today, and this one, she's not as long, but it's steep. Some of these guys are looking comfortable. Look at the high cadence. That's the pedal, the leg speed. Molyneux on the front again. He's riding extremely well. Certainly the strongest in this group. Grabbing another water bottle. Final one for the day, so the last of the feed stations. Josh Aldridge, he's just dropped off the back. He's had a pretty good day's work picking up the King of the Mountains. As we come up towards Pumpkin Hill, King of the Mountain climb, it's Molyneux leading it out. He's going to take it from Lovegrove, so some points for Molyneux. He'll be moving up onto Aldridge in that King of the Mountains competition. Now they'll start thinking about the last stage of the race. Who's going to take out the 2013 12th edition of the Crane League K2 Cycle Classic? Go the last stage of the Crane League K2 Cycle Classic. If you break it up, of course, it's not a stage race. They don't have time to stop at the towns. Whittianga is where they're heading. Beautiful conditions all day. It's hot. Here we go. A little bit of cat and mouse going on. With the riders looking at each other. Someone will be thinking about making a move or trying to get away on a break. Molyneux's already had a go. Nick Lovegrove's there. Ben McHale from Rotorua. So the pressure through the rolling countryside here as they head towards Whittianga. Nick Lovegrove, Dan Molyneux, Ben McHale, Gregory Marfield, Alex Henney. They're the riders that have got away. There's Molyneux putting on the pressure again. Lovegrove starting to hurt a little bit now. Is punching the bigger gear to hold the wheel. McHale comes back up onto the back wheel, so they are back together, down to 4. We've lost 1. Henney looks like he might have dropped off. 5 hours of racing. Molyneux on the front. McHale sitting there in second place in the Avanti kit. Then in the L&M colours, it's Lovegrove in the black. So this last little bit of flat will be difficult for anybody to get away. This group's been working well together. They know if they attack now that they'll probably have no chance in the sprint, so they're probably fairly happy to stick together as they head in towards the finish in Whittianga. Molyneux's done a lot of work. Will he have the legs for the sprint finish? Lovegrove, very experienced, winner of stages in the New Zealand Cycle Classic. Coming in towards the finish now into Whittianga. Who's going to lead it out? It's Nick Lovegrove's gone on the inside. Molyneux's going to come back at him, but Lovegrove, he's got the gap. He takes out the 12th edition of the Crane League K2 Cycle Classic from Dan Molyneux, Ben McHale and Gregory Marfield.
Thoughts coming in was I had no idea how I was going to go. It's a brutally long race. I've trained as hard as I can, but I hadn't done a perfect build-up. So my plan was really just to bide my time and just try and save as much energy for the last 20 or 30 Ks, which I thought was where the race was going to be won. And it wasn't really. It was only won in the last 500 metres, but it was a hard day. Oh, Daniel Molyneux, man, he was the strongest guy in the race for sure. Just had so much gas. It was just doing all I could just to stay with him when he was attacking, and you know, it just came down to a little bit of a tactical game at the end, and looks like I made the right call at the right time, and he was super strong. So I was actually surprised that he didn't come past me, but happy. Oh, it's a great race. It's a great ride. I mean, the whole organisation today and the marshals on the course did a great job.
So it was Nick Lovegrove who took out the 12th edition of the Crane League K2 Cycle Classic from Dan Molyneux and Ben McHale. Emma Crum put in a fantastic ride, finishing in 49th place and a new record time for women in 5 hours 42. The Harlequin K1 Elite Women's race over 100 kilometres was won by Hannah Van Kampen from Hastings. The Crane League K2 Open was won by Auckland's Stephen Leithwaite. So we'll be back next year for the 13th edition of the Cranley K2 Cycle Classic. Keep an eye out for dates, early November 2014.